Do we need more light? We're in the dark a bit. Oh, the lights have come on.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Yeah, I think there's a magical adjustment.
Both of us in this, just so.
Cheers. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Gosh, that was summer, and now it's back to school. Back to podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're wearing autumnal colours today,
aren't we? Yeah. We're here again.
We discussed in detail last night, didn't we?
Always. Everyone that knows us knows how organised we both are. How we have these advanced little meetings before, not a kind of WhatsApp at 11 o'clock. Are we doing this tomorrow?
I'll see you down there. I might be a bit late. I'll be there in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yep, no, flying by the seat of our prickly pants. Because I actually got, I didn't know how I could get prickles from a rose bush on my bum on the way here, but I did.
Did you cycle?
It's quite overgrown, yeah.
Yeah. It's mad out there in Bridport, folks.
No, I like the overgrowingness. I'm just going to say that. Go for it. Because they just, on the way here too, the other thing, which slightly annoyed me, is they chopped down this massive tree in the churchyard, St Mary's churchyard.
When did they do that?
This morning. Huge.
Which one?
Oh,
just a lovely one.
There's a beautiful one. So there's I don't know, 3 massive old trees, maybe 4 in St Mary's churchyard. Now there is only 1, 2, 3. And I said to the guy who was chopping it down, I said, why did they chop that down? And he goes, it was growing. So that's the reason. And I think therein lies the theme of today.
Yes.
Maybe.
I think that is a perfectly...
Growth, change. It's all connected, isn't it?
It is.
And there's nothing wrong with it. But it might feel a little bit out of control. Because that's what I think. It's about getting back control.
We can't grow without change. Sometimes, in order to grow successfully, we need to do a little bit of pruning. I wouldn't go as far as to say we need to chop down ourselves completely, but sometimes a little bit of pruning helps us sustain stronger growth in the future.
Yeah. So to me, pruning is letting go. And if you were Jewish, then it's the start of the new year. This Rosh Hashanah. I don't know how to say that. Is it Rosh Hashanah?
I'm sorry that
I'm not sure. I'm not. But
happy Rosh Hashanah.
Happy Rosh Hashanah, everybody. And apparently one of the rituals, which I did myself on Sunday, just because, it sounded like a really good ritual, and that is to get breadcrumbs, old breadcrumbs, and throw them into the river, into a flowing river.
Oh.
And think about this is the bit. Think about what you want to let go. So what you don't want to take into the next chapter.
And what's lovely about it being breadcrumbs is you're not doing any damage. It's not like throwing bits of old plastic anywhere. It's that wonderful, perhaps the fish will come and eat the breadcrumbs. Perhaps there'll be a bird that a duck or something or whatever.
But we won't talk about what the bread might do, because of the gluten and
I see.
Sorry to be such a downer.
Yeah. All right, but anyway, it's not bits of plastic bags.
Yeah.
So it is something that in some ways is going to dissolve.
Exactly.
Maybe the bread will just dissolve in the water, and that will just letting go-ness will just
I know. So you could do that with lots of things in a ritual. So sometimes I pick up stones off the beach and I think this stone symbolizes whatever it is, should we think up something? This stone that I might want to let go of. This stone symbolizes, for instance, me worrying about my son's progress at school, for instance. Just let it go. Throw it into the water and let it go. So things like that, consciously make a decision of what you don't want to carry on with. What's not working for you?
Those symbolic gestures, though, when we actually physically and tangibly let go of something, the connections that makes in our brain, and that break that makes with that bubble is really, really important.
Because your brain doesn't know the difference. You probably did that in your psychology.
It doesn't know the difference. No.
So your brain doesn't know the difference. And if you marry it with something physical, then it makes it even more real. The other thing I do when I want to let things go is imagine them getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and further away, and then just like popping like a bubble and dissolving into the.
That's something.
Like you said,
that's a neuro-linguistic programming thing.
Yeah.
Where if you want something to, let's use the terms. If you want something to manifest, you make the colours brighter. You make it bigger. Right. You make it closer.
You feel it.
And if you totally engage yourself with it, I'm going to sneeze.
Let it go.
That came off. Couldn't have done that if I tried. Oh.
Again. Bless you.
Thank you. Okay. Whereas if you want to let something go, you take the colour out. So you literally watch the colour drain out. It becomes black and white. And you see it going further and further away until you say it just like disappears.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's really good, isn't it?
It's really fun.
And I mean that. So that's sort of what do you call it? Visualization.
Yeah, it is very much.
It's very helpful, especially I think when you're visual people like we probably are.
I mean, I think some people find it actually harder to really hold on to that idea in their mind's eye with that kind of concept of visualization, and that's why actually having that tangibleness, so picking up a pebble or maybe writing down what you've been on a piece of paper and tearing it into little pieces and throwing it away.
Or burning it.
Burning is really good.
That's what I was saying about that idea of dissolving, throwing something in the sea. Also, smoke is a very cleansing thing to do, and humans have been burning as a way of cleansing, including cremation being the ultimate cleanse and ultimate letting go. Yeah, use it.
Do you use a sage stick? Have you got one of those?
Yeah. I was thinking about bringing it today, but I didn't.
I was recently gifted one.
Oh, that's
and it was a really nice big one, and I just got sort of to the wincy end of the last one I had, so it was perfect timing.
Oh, that's very good.
And it was lovely.
Yeah, I love a sage stick. So that's part of my painting ritual, is to clear the space, and also sometimes if somebody's come into my house and they're in massive trauma, I just clear the space just to like let it go. And it's very helpful to have these cleansing rituals, especially myself. My personality is quite open, and things can stick. I don't know if I'm an empath. I don't really care to label myself, but I think sometimes things do stay with me that I don't particularly want to travel with. Cleansing rituals, throwing away. We're next to the recycle centre. That is another amazing resource for like literally getting rid of stuff. And I think now's a good time to declutter.
I think so. And I think, I don't know about you, but for me, the kind of back to schoolness of September in some ways feels a much more appropriate time to do that clearing than, for instance, January. I mean, I'm not someone that has ever been like New Year's resolutions or anything like that. But I do like that idea of, perhaps in the long summer holidays, we kind of step back a little bit, and it's warm anyway, so our brains are operating in a different way. Yeah. And especially today with this amazing wind.
I actually am enjoying today.
And then we've got this kind of idea that, let's just, what do we need to take into the next season? What do we need to let go of? Have we allowed things to accumulate without us really noticing? That kind of thing.
And I think it happens on a daily basis. I think now is the time to slow the F down and stop running around like on overdrive. Don't you think?
I do think that. And I think one of the things we both do is say yes too often, and load ourselves up a lot. And then we do end up, because I haven't known you very long, but we both have that kind of like, it's really exciting. Let's do it.
Like this. But this is good.
And this is great. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. That's great. But we do burn out quite quickly.
I know. But can I just say, this isn't ever going to give me burnout.
No, this
what
isn't
is going to give me burnout is like administration, difficult people that I might have to deal with. Actually, there's very little of that in my life at the moment because I'm quite good at it. See you later. And but it's the whole kind of like administration, organizing, and also the executive functions. I'm not good at them anyway, but I have learnt to get good at them and do them quickly, but not something I'm interested in whatsoever. If I'm not interested in it, it can drain me.
Absolutely.
But I mean, to be honest, I'm not doing that many things that aren't interested in, but I am thinking and now, especially with like painting, writing, that I was thinking about doing a big event next year. I'm still in two minds whether or not to do that. I've got a lot on my plate.
Is there anything you have? Is there anything you need to let go of?
No, why do people keep telling me that?
It just means
it's not like I'm that busy ever.
Well, it feels.
I've got one email to send about one event, and honestly, I've put it off for like 3 weeks, and that's made me feel like, oh my God. But also, it doesn't help. People keep telling me how fucking busy I am because I'm not really that busy.
Okay.
I mean, I don't do that much in my day.
Oh, okay.
I know. I'm trying to convince myself. And she sees
I realise that.
But it's like, this is just my life, and I've always been like this.
Yeah.
I've been up a tree in the morning, and then I'm making something for lunch, and then I'm doing something else crazy in the afternoon. I think my life has always kind of been like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying it should be any different. I'm not saying you should absolutely be any different, because I love you as you are.
I know, but sometimes I feel like people come up to me and they go, oh my God, you're so busy. You're like on social media all the time. And I'm like,
nah, I mean, social media, come on.
About, really.
That's because you make it look so easy. So you put your posts out, and I don't know when you do them or whatever, but I'm sure you have some kind of routine or whatever.
I don't actually.
You just put them out when you fancy.
100% heart-led.
So then you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
So it's not a chore then, is it? It's
not. Yeah. No. But it makes me look like busy and harried, maybe. But I'm not. I'm not really harried. I mean, I don't know. I just sometimes feel like busy, and being busy is kind of like sometimes is sort of like, I don't know, it just makes me feel like a little bit, are people not paying attention? Are they just like, oh my God, she's just doing lots of shit and I don't see the connection between anything, and she must be going mad or something? I feel like,
oh, I see. Well, that's their problem, not yours, because everything you do is very connected.
I'm going to be, thanks very much, but I'm always, it's like, don't you ever just want to concentrate on one thing? That's what my mother would definitely say to me. Sorry, Mum. And I'm like, no, fuck that. No. And if I want to take on another career, if I want to suddenly become a fiddle player in a prog rock band, then let me do it. Yeah. Or is somebody going to come up to me more and go, oh my God, you're so busy. How do you get the time? It's like, there's, because for me, it's just about freedom and feeling like you can do what you want.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
It's actually
I'm picking
those
this,
choices.
obviously.
No. I mean, having those choices to just do what you want to do when you want to do. That's incredible freedom, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's not busy.
No, it's not.
Busy
You're right.
is when you get home at 5 o'clock from a full-time job
that you've hated
to kids, and you've got to cook a meal.
And then
that is
do the washing up.
And do the washing up.
Make
and then
sure they've done their
and
homework.
all the other shit. And then, you know, have you got the sports kit ready for tomorrow? And what are you going to put in their lunchbox? That is busy, isn't it?
So that has just reminded me, and I hope you don't mind me interjecting here and sharing this thing. So one of the things that I am in my portfolio-ness, one of the things that I am in my portfolio is an applied positive psychologist. And there's in positive psychology, people think, oh, it's the science of happiness. It's a load of bollocks. It's not the science of happiness at all. But anyway, that's what they would think. What positive psychology is looking at is how we can create a good life for us, a good life for those around us, how we can create a beautiful, safe, sustainable environment. And we talk about things on different levels. So we come into it and we say, okay, so let's look at this kind of hierarchy of needs based on Maslow. We might have a job. We go to that job every day, and we're at the end of the month, we're getting a pay packet. Nothing about that job makes us feel good. We're doing it because we need to pay the rent, we need to pay the bills, we need to eat, we need to live. That's the job. Once we've achieved all of that, we've got the next level, which is perhaps, if we're lucky, we can expand that job into a career. So suddenly we're doing something that perhaps we quite enjoy doing. We might have a little bit of money left over at the end of the month to go and do some other more fun stuff.
Well, you've made the assumption that if you've got a career, it's a jump up to happiness. I would question that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not necessarily saying you're jumping up to happiness. I'm just saying you're finding a little bit more. It's just a different level.
Different level.
You can go from that to the next level, which is a vocation.
Vocation. Now we're talking.
Suddenly, your day, whatever you're choosing it to look like, has meaning. You might not have more money, but you've created meaning in your life.
Thank you.
And that is what will bring you happiness.
Yeah.
That waking up in the morning and knowing that it's the self-awareness, the self-knowledge, knowing what you're doing in your life is being good for you and providing something out there in the world. I would question that a monk in a closed order can actually have that.
Would you?
I would, because I really think in order to lead the good life, we actually need connections and communication with other people. That's very personal to me. But I think that's really important.
Okay, I think.
But yeah, so it's those kind
prayer can transmit though an energy. If somebody's just in a room by themselves praying for someone,
I think it can. But I think if you were to live in a room by yourself for 10 years praying, I would say,
yeah, well, I don't think that really happens because people have to eat, someone has to get them the food, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that much about closed orders anymore. It's not something I don't know if they are even there in the world as real things particularly anymore. I'm just thinking of kind of convent life in the past, or monasteries.
I mean, they just used to lock up.
Bad women like us.
Yeah, they would have been locked up in the convent or in the crazy house.
But I was just thinking about what you were saying there about that sort of difference between like being busy. So, you've got this job and you've got all these other stuff that you're doing, and you don't have a minute to think about meaning in your life. And how actually when we're busy, we might be really super busy, but we might be doing it in such a way that everything we do is in some way connecting with our authentic self.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. I mean, I was thinking about that this week. I was thinking, but also that's why I sort of jumped in about the whole sort of career success thing, because I think success can be ego, can kick off a sort of ego response, which can be very fake and sort of not helpful, basically. But I loved that you talked about vocation, because I do feel like a lot of what I do, even though, I think like this week, like how is painting a quince? How is that like, helping people, being of service? But actually, I generated so much joy in that 1 hour or whatever, however long it took me. I don't know, I lost track of time in that whole process. It's going to see me through the rest of the week, Rebecca.
Yeah.
No, and maybe even through the rest of my life. I just felt like, oh my God, I just was so in love with what I was doing, the way I was doing it. I was in love with the fruit. I was in love with the colour yellow. And it was like, whoa,
And
like
that is being, that's being in the flow, isn't it? That's totally being in that moment and that joy that creates. And that's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
And time stops and the rest of the world stops. And I would say that is very much giving to the world, actually, because I think the energy that kind of generates around you resonates out.
Yeah,
that's how I would.
I don't know. Well, I just feel like for me, that is very helpful, because then I've got energy to then give to other people. And I did Sunday. Oh no, it was Sunday morning. Yeah, and Sunday, I was like just on a cloud of happy, and so I was able to see people, to help people, who needed it. I mean, I really was. I was like, yeah, here you go. And I don't reckon I would have got to that space if I didn't open myself up to that beautiful experience, which may have been, which was just for me, it was just for me. And so anyway, so I think for me, helping yourself, and there's that whole thing about if you don't kind of like transform your trauma or your unhappiness, because didn't wake up Sunday morning like, oh, so happy, didn't. And actually it's feeling really grungy that sometimes, quite often, sends me to my studio to do something like paint a quince. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh, I want to get, out of this,
change this
worldly sense. Kind of fog of and then it takes me there, and then it's like something's transformed in that process. And I did hear something: if you don't transform your trauma or your crap, then you transmit it. And so I was able to not.
A great expression. Yeah, we need to transform our trauma or we transmit it.
Yeah,
I know the shorthand for that, I guess, is damaged people damage.
Yeah, that's same too. I know, and it's not like I think I'm really damaged.
No, I don't think you are either. That wasn't what I was implying.
But there is trauma, and I do feel like actually, I turn on the news, I get traumatized. And I was kind of traumatized by the Barbie movie the night before, I've got to say. Do we want to go there, or is Weef going to be here?
He's not there yet. So
what's the time?
It's only. Sorry,
I was going to watch the clock and be really organised.
We don't know. We'll hear when the dog arrives, because the dog will start barking. So that.
Oh, good. Yes, great.
Barbie movie. I thought it looked great. Loved the way it looked. If I just think about it on a very superficial level, fantastic. Love the art direction. Thought the whole scene making was fantastic.
Was amazing.
Did I like the story it told? Not so much.
Yeah, no. Wasn't convinced. I was really hoping that, because people were going, oh, she talks about patriarchy, blah, blah. But it was really unconvincing. It wasn't done in a way that I think would convince anyone that actually there was a kind of change was in the air and there was a way forward. I think not at all.
We've got that, and then I'm going to bring it up because it's on my head. We've got the whole Russell Brand story in the news at the moment.
Oh my God, I mean,
how is anyone surprised by this story?
I know,
how is anyone surprised by this story? The guy has openly said he was a misogynist,
Yeah.
has openly admitted to being a sex addict.
Of course, that's going to.
You put those things together, you're going to end up with all this dark
this
side.
Is so
and
true. It's and it's like by sort of putting those people up as sort of these are the monsters, these are the is denying actually this whole spectrum, like you said, which is misogynistic, addictive, all of that is, might just be a pinch on the bum, so innocent, to like the extreme things that really, and I think you're right. How is anyone surprised? I do agree with that, and I think that there's a witch hunt, isn't there, now with the media? They're gonna, because that's the way they operate. They only serve to,
because if unfortunately we live in a ridiculously unequal and skewed space at the moment. The world is so skewed that Russell Brand creates profit for these large news companies, these corporations.
His story does.
Yeah. So they're going to flog it.
He's trying to do the opposite, I think.
But they're going to flog it to death because of the click, 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 click.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they've just gone click. Yeah, it is about the clicks, and they make millions of dollars. And even, Hugh Jackman and Deborah Lee Furness. I was clicking. I don't know. That really, it's such a weird story. It's such a weird story, and so much of it was about the way she looked, how old she is. It was just like, where I come from in Melbourne in the 80s and early 90s, Deborah Lee Furness was one of the best actresses in Australia, doing amazing films. But it's just like, that's not what it's about. And I think it's just a bit sad, and I don't want to be the cynical person that make the Barbie movie made me feel so cynical, and all of this makes me just like feel
because I think there's so many connections between those three things we've just mentioned. And I think what my kind of gut instinct, I suppose, about the Barbie movie is it's trying to gloss over it, and it appeared to me, maybe that's not what her intention was as a director, but it appeared to me, and the way it made me feel was, we don't need to really think about this anymore. We can just dress it up and pretend that
and laugh at it.
Yeah. And it's not funny.
I really feel, and why is there a whole movie theatre of people laughing when she said, I need to see my gynecologist?
Yeah.
Like, and when they said vagina, what a fucking joke. And honestly, it really made me mad, the way they pushed the cocktails, and men were dressed up in blonde wigs and big boobs and wearing pink.
Yeah,
and,
the whole pastiche.
It's just like, women, you're a joke. And her tears, they were just funny, weren't they? They were just funny. She was crying. What's happening?
Oh, Barbie's crying.
I know. I just feel like,
this made us mad, this film, didn't it?
It really made me mad. It almost enraged me, and I just felt disappointed. I thought, Helen Mirren, sorry. Got some phone off. Have we gone now? Oh, decline. Maybe that doesn't let me have a phone call while we're doing this. Oh, no, not that. Maybe we are still on. Okay. Sorry about that.
Somehow.
I just felt disappointed. Just I felt disappointed. Because the woman that played Weird Barbie, she's like one of the most talented comedian actresses in the whole world. If you look at what she's done on Saturday Night Live,
it was that whole kind of pastiche and silliness, wasn't it? About look at how she's weird.
Everything's up for a laugh. Yeah, and I do feel like, okay, 100 years ago we just burned them, we locked them up, we didn't have to pretend. Now it's like we will just laugh at you. We will just confuse you. We will just, create.
Well, we'll create you into
uncertainty.
We'll make you into a caricature and a character that we can ridicule
and control.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really disappointed. And just because Helen Mirren says, oh, they cast, what's her name again?
Which one?
The one who played Barbie. The Australian
Margot
actress.
Robbie.
Margot
No.
Robbie.
Yeah, that's her name, isn't it? Yeah.
Because obviously she is gorgeous.
Obviously.
It's just not enough.
No,
just because you go, oh, let's laugh
I didn't
at
think
the
it was
choices.
the film that I had
So
wished
disappointed.
she'd made.
Yeah.
Because I think she's a great director, a great auteur, and Frances Ha.
Sure.
Oh, Frances, whatever
So
that film
many
was.
good
Frances
actors
Ha.
in it, really.
I loved that film. There were so many good films
Yeah.
that she has made leading up to that point, and I was a bit disappointed because I felt like as a director she'd sold out there.
Sold out, and it was all
I've said
about the
it.
brand, wasn't
I've
it?
said it.
Mattel.
Yeah.
Mattel are the ones that
It
are
was
laughing.
the reason that film was made was to sell more
I know.
Barbies.
So I'm just like, are we going to have a Barbie Christmas? Are we?
Oh, we are. I mean, we're not. I haven't got young girls in my
Okay.
that I would, I haven't got.
Yeah.
That's not part of my kind of life anymore. But
I'd be worried.
I'm
I'd be
pretty
so worried
sure
about
that
showing it to my young girls.
that it for me it just felt like a commercial to push Barbies.
Even my son, I was really uncomfortable with all those images of all those Kens who were like completely pumped with muscles. I mean, I don't really want to talk about what's
but the
happening,
whole kind of body image,
the body image thing is massive amongst his peer group. Half of them are like going to the gym. They want to pump iron every day. They want it because they see that. They see that as being put up as the ideal. And it's just dangerous because to be ripped like Ryan Gosling was in that film takes like a kind of abuse of the body. Yeah. It's not natural. And, it's being sold as something that we should want for us.
And to my mind, one of the biggest, something that upsets me so much, and eating disorders and anorexia are really close to me. And I think the saddest statistic now is that young boys are keeping up now with eating disorders with young girls.
I know.
So oh, we live in this really equal society. Rather than it meaning we have an equal society that's lovely for everybody.
No.
All it means is we've all been dragged down to these same
bits,
insecurities and anxieties.
Yeah, I know. It's just terrible. It's really happening. Yeah. It's really happening to all young boys now. And, that it's just going to get worse. Yeah. And honestly, I mean, I have seen so many mums taken down because it's not just the kids that suffer in that.
Yeah, it's
the mums are brought down. It goes the whole family. It's just
And I know this is interesting because I hadn't expected when we were talking at the beginning.
We weren't going to talk.
We weren't thinking, and it's always the way, isn't it? We talk about something and it's quite flippant, and we start talking about the Barbie film, and then before we know it, we're actually got really in deep here.
We're furious.
And this is really what I am really scared for this generation of younger people who are being put under so much pressure. They shouldn't be having to conform. They should be being allowed to be who they are.
I know.
And the mental health crisis, I know we've talked about it before, but it just really upsets me.
I know. It is really upsetting. But on a positive note, if I can think of one.
Let's end on a positive note because we're coming to the end.
That what young people are doing is they know what needs to be done. And I feel like we're going to get to the other side of this because on the other side of this is a society that doesn't care about body image. And what we will begin to care about is our health. It's just, you're eating healthy. I mean, that's happening in the little pockets of people that can afford to, get their Zoe whatever or have access to really good information about herbal medicine or whatever.
But again, it's making this universal, isn't it? It's actually finding a way to. I'm optimistic because I think young people are amazing.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do is trust them and allow them to get on with it.
Yeah, we do need
rather than imposing our rules, regulations, ideas, which, let's face it, have done nothing but create fuck ups.
And our drugs as well is a problem.
We
need to take
alcohol,
down big pharma. Alcohol is bad. So all the poisons, but the thing is, the poisons are, people are making big profits from those. So
so basically we need to seize control of the state, take down capitalism.
Well, I think I'm just going to do it in my own way, because that just makes me feel like, oh my God, I don't know if I can, I might have to have a meeting or something, and I don't really want to do that,
Well, we're coming back then to the things that neither of us enjoy doing, that we kind of have to
do what
which is the kind of day-to-day admin of life. We don't enjoy that very much.
No, but
I do think if we were to lead some kind of women's rebellion, that would require quite a bit of admin.
Do you? I think the rebellion started. I'm already leading it right now. This is it.
Right.
This is what it looks like. Women getting together and taking the power back and going, I could be at home cleaning. Fuck it. I could be at home, making sure everybody else is okay. Fuck it. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. Fuck it. I matter what I think about stuff. And I feel like that's revolutionary in this stuff that we've talked about.
Yeah.
That is revolutionary.
Yeah. It is revolutionary, but it comes back to that having a voice, doesn't it?
There's your dog.
That's my dog.
Here. So
that's my dog.
You're the voice trying to understand it. Yeah.
Yep, that's my mom.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
See you later, guys. Love you.